right, this is Julian Kyer on CyclingIllustrated.com. He's the new national road champion. He rides for UV Solar Cycling, and we just want to talk to him a little bit and find out how it went down. They're in Augusta, Georgia. He's back home now in Colorado, back on mountain time. So first, I just want to talk to you and tell you, that was an awesome win, and we saw the passion at the end of that race when you won it. But give me a little bit of your background. I know you rode for Trek Livestrong, then you rode for Kelly Benefit Strategies, and now you're riding for UV. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how those progressions went?
I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, and I knew Taylor Finney since I was a junior, and right before he started racing, and when the Trek Livestrong team started to come together the first year, he brought me on sort of at the last minute, and I think Axel really liked what he saw and signed me again for the next year, and that's kind of just how I got my start. And then last year was a little bit of I guess after my last year on Trek Livestrong, I aged out of the program because they're U23 only, and we just had so many good guys on that team that got really good contracts after the year was over, and I kind of fell through the cracks a little bit, and Kelly Benefits picked me up, and I started off with a really strong ride at Merced that year, and then everything just went straight downhill from there, and I found out about 3 days before US Pro last year that I was really anemic, and I basically just couldn't get out of my own way most of the season, and so I spent most of last year just trying to get healthy, and as Kelly wanted to step up their program, they didn't, I didn't have any results to show really for them, and so I didn't have a spot on the team for this year, and so
Were you let down a little bit at first?
Oh, for sure. But I really got motivated, and I worked really hard over the winter, and I really busted my ass a lot, and this year I'd been in Santa Rosa, California for the past year and a half training, and I moved back to Boulder this spring, and UV picked me up right away, and they've been super supportive, and it's a small amateur team. It's the passion project for the CEO of UV Solar here, and so they get us to races, but give us great equipment, and it's been a little bit of a frustrating year just in terms of just stuff where it's like, I knew going into the season that we're not a full professional team, and we don't have some of the resources that a professional team does. Like at Battenkill, I was going great, and I flatted on one of the crucial dirt sections, and we didn't have a team car, and so it was kind of like game over. So I've been I knew I had the form this year. I've just been waiting for it to come through, basically.
Well, let's talk about that road race yesterday that
Sure.
got you into position to be our new national champion. How did it all go down? I mean, how did you get away? I know there were several breaks going up the road all day, from what I could tell, and some guys would get popped, or they were on the limit and come back to the peloton. And when did you make your move, and what was the move that made you eventually win the race?
What happened, the very first part of the race, I had no idea what to expect from this race, because With there being no pro teams, you can't rely on anybody to control anything. You can't really depend on any of the teams there to really be dominant or to really commit to chasing. And so, I mean, we saw it time and time again where there would be a group of guys yesterday that, had, a couple hitters and nobody would ride because nobody was really confident enough to commit. And so my goal was just to be, try to be a little bit aggressive and always just stay up front and just go with whatever splits went up the road. And I figured that at some point, either the field would come back up to us or, a group would stay away. But I figured at least that way I would make sure I made whatever critical move happened. And so the first break went, right from the gun, right after the feed zone. And my teammate went, and then somebody bridged across to it, and it just ended up being sort of convenient and easy to go across to it. And it ended up rolling for a bit, and we rolled for a while, and then basically small chunks of guys kept moving up to that group, that original group of 5 or 7 of us, and until what we had basically what was the field at that point of maybe 30 or 40 guys, with 2 to go. And then, Stefano Barbary and I have known each other for quite a while, and we have the same coach, and he'd come up to me early.
He's on the Cash Call Mortgage team.
He came up to me before the start. He was like, let's just make it hard and be aggressive today, and really throw down. And so with 2 to go, right after the feed zone, the climb after the feed zone, he went, and nobody went with him, and you could see everybody was just looking at each other. And so I just stomped across to him, and I just yelled at him. I was like, let's do this. And we started riding, and 2 guys bridged up to us, and one of the guys got dropped right away, and then it was just 3 of us, and we rolled all the way to the finish. And there really wasn't any cat and mouse or playing games. We pretty much.
How did you decide that you win? Did you out sprint him at the end, or did you guys make a deal? Or
No. We Stefano was. I could see he was cracking with maybe 5 or 8K to go, and then the other guy, we just. He's a big guy, and I kind of just gambled on him not being able to go uphill that fast. Yeah. And so we got to the final climb, and I just stomped it as hard as I could. And, I'd been, following some of the big guys in races here this year, and I knew what kind of efforts they were putting out on climbs that were really starting to drop guys, and I just, made it a hard, steady effort for the last maybe 500 or 800 meters.
Wow.
And it was on the climb, and I could, I was looking back behind me, and I could see that he was getting dropped, and I just punched it, and I had enough time going into the finish that I got to celebrate a little bit, and I didn't really have to stress too much about having a sprint, which was nice.
I mean, obviously, did you have expectations that you were going to pull this off yesterday?
It's kind of funny. I didn't have any thoughts that I couldn't do it, and I definitely knew that my goal was to just leave it all on the road and just empty the tank, and whatever that meant, that was fine. I'd already achieved my goal, like a major season goal, in winning the time trial, and so it wasn't something where I really felt like I had a lot of pressure to win. But after I won the time trial, a lot of people were, sort of joking with me. They're like, "Oh, now you should go win the road race." And at first, I was like, "Geez, like, is the TT not enough for you people?
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't hard enough. I have to go win the road race too." But then,
And you did it.
so I think I just had enough people expressing confidence in me that.
When did you commit in that race 100% that you were going to win that thing? Because there must have been a switch at some point that went off that said, "I'm winning."
When I committed to that break, like with about
with
40
Stefano.
What's that?
At that point with Stefano, that's the break.
Yeah, with like 35, 40K to go, I just said, like,
it's all or nothing.
This is it. We're going full gas until, like, if we get caught, I didn't want to be able to get back into the peloton. I wanted to just be wrecked if we got caught. And so that's when I committed to it. And then in the last 5, 8K, I started realizing that it was possible to win, and I knew that Stefano was pretty dead, and I knew that I just had to beat one guy at that point, pretty much.
That's great. And, well, with results like that, that's going to get you on a much bigger team if you keep those kind of outputs and efforts and winning and placing and getting results at the end of the day. So who would you like to ride for in the future?
I want to ride for somebody that races in Europe. That's the kind of racing that gets me out the door every morning, and that's what I think about all the time. And it's hard, for me it's been hard because it's like, I get maybe a handful of road races a year, and the rest of my year is crits and stuff like that, and so that's not really the kind of riding that suits me. I like days like yesterday where the heat and the elements buckle people, and there's so much more that goes into being successful in a road race than goes into being successful in a shorter race like a crit. That it's just, that's more my style of racing.
Sure. Well, we wish you the very best.
Thanks.
And we're all proud of you. I'm sure your parents and your friends and your support group are ecstatic that you're the new national champ, and you probably shocked a lot of people down there. They probably believed in you, but when you're rolling across that line and there's a lot of big names in the field, I think everybody was shocked, and we wanted to know who you were, and so that's why I called you up, and I'm really thankful that you did the interview with us today.
Absolutely.
And I wish very, very good things on your career in the future, and I'd love to interview you again sometime, as you are going to have many more victories in your future. And so, would you like to add anything else?
I don't have anything left to add.
All right.
I'm on the market, so if you're a director.
I love it. That's good. That's positive.
Yeah.
And I know some. We'll put some words out. But this is Brandon and Julian, your new national champion with CyclingIllustrated.com.